Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is KTECHGAI and I'm so glad to be back again with a new video. Um, so what is our assignment for today? Today I'm going to teach you how to create shadows. Yes, shadows are really important part of graphic design and uh, they can really give an artistic twist to your design, and they can make your work look more realistic than you can imagine, or they can simply cause your work to stand out among many. So, and I have to tell you, or you probably may have noticed how frustrating it can be for you to realize a certain code technique in a person's um, design project, and you cannot get it done yourself. Okay, so that's what this video is about. By the end of the video, you should be able to use shadows in a very artistic way and be able to add a shadow to any image you may be working with. Okay, so without much ado, let's get right into the video. So let me show you a picture of what we are going to do today. Okay, so we are actually going to learn two types of shadows. Okay, so here we are. This female has got a shadow that's quite different from that of the man. So I call that of the female faded shadow, because you realize that the shadow of the female is not as realistic as that of the male. Okay, it doesn't look like a person. Meanwhile, without a shadow, the picture will look kind of hanging. Okay, that's why it's necessary for us to add a shadow to this image, I mean the female. Okay, but on the other hand, the man's shadow looks quite realistic. All right. Okay, so let's open up our Photoshop and get started. Okay, so here we are. Let me launch. Here we are. This Photoshop. I have to warn you, I'm using Photoshop 2022, and if you are using an older version, it should actually work for you too. Okay, otherwise you have to play around to get it done, and be sure to see the video over and over again, so that you'll be able to do it too. Alright, okay, so let's get into the size of our project. Go to File, New, and I'm sure you do not have this in the older versions of Photoshop, okay, where you have preset sizes like this. So I just go to Print. For this project, we are going to need a bigger workspace, so I advise we go for the screen of our wallpaper. I mean the screen of our laptops. Okay, so let's go to art and illustrations. Now let's go to web. Okay, right here, this is what I'm looking for. Web large, 9020 by 1080. Okay, pixels at 72 ppi. All right, but if you do not, with the version of Photoshop you might be using, if you do not have this preset size, you can manually enter the values here. Okay, and the orientation is obviously landscape. Okay, that means that the width is larger than the height. Okay, so let's select this and you see. All right, so for you who do not have Photoshop 2020 or 2021 or 2022, and you have quite older versions and you do not see this preset size. Okay, you are going to have to enter the values here. So 90, 20, 80, 10, 80, sorry, and go ahead and enter your name. So enter the name for your project. Let's call it shadow, and leave everything else as they are. Make sure it's pixels, okay, and leave every other thing as it is, and hit create. All right, I bet you can see that the list, this size looks exactly like your laptop screen. Okay, I want it as big as this one. Alright, so let's zoom in a little bit. Here we are. Okay, so actually did not want this. Don't worry about this one. Alright, let's give it a fill. White, and lock this background. So here's our background. Let's go right ahead and import our photos for the project. So go to file, and go to place embedded. So we are going to look for our images for the project. And if you are using a version that does not allow you to go to file and get your images imported, you should find a way to bring your images here. Sometimes with other versions that I used before, you can just copy and come and paste in place. Okay, all right, so I have my photos for the project here on my desktop. Raw shadow. um let's bring the female first. I mean ladies first, right? Okay, so every time you import an image and you have this check, this is called aspect ratio. It means that when you go ahead and grab any of the handles and you pull, you are going to have a perfect shape of your image, a perfect size of your image, without any distortion. Okay, and that's exactly what we want. In other cases, you are going to have to uncheck to get exactly what you want. So let's go back to get the male too. So here we are, is the male. Let's crank it up, let's scale up the image to be about the same size as the female. Okay, and it will not even hurt for the male to look bigger than the female, right? Men are supposed to be giant. Okay, so here we are. Now that we have our photos here, we can go ahead and add the shadows. So first we want to add a faded shadow to the female, and that's quite simple. All you need to do is, okay, so let's arrange this the layer let's arrange the layers for the images in order. So the female comes first, okay, going from our left. So let's bring the female on top. All right, good. And because we want to add the shadow to the female, okay, we actually need a blank layer. In order for us to create a blank layer, you just click here, create layer. You can hover on it for it to tell you what command is there for you. Okay, so create a new layer, and it's actually blank. Good. Once you have that, you have to go ahead and grab a brush. Good. Once you have the brush, okay, so this is the current brush that I used, which is not what we want. We want a general brush that has soft edges, so this one. But if you have one that does not have if you do not have the soft brush, you can pick a hard one and just crank the value of the hardness down to 0. That's exactly what we want. So let's decrease the size of the brush. Okay, all right, and make sure that your foreground is black. That's what we want. Your foreground is black, and just tap beneath the image. Good. Once you have that done, you can go ahead and select, and just click it once for the aspect ratio to show. But because I warned you in the beginning that when you have this checked, whatever you do with the selected object will be perfect, and that's not what we want now. We actually want to flatten um, the shadow. Okay, so we uncheck this and commit it, and you hold this down and just grab it. Okay, otherwise it's going to look like the lady is hanging. Okay, so you have to play around it to get it in position so that it looks real. Alright, so there we are. That's a soft um, shadow. And if you don't like what you see, if the shadow is too deep for you or too solid for you, you don't have to fret. You can always modify it. And the way you can do it is we are going to crank down the value of the opacity. Okay, so if you want to do that, you just click any number you want. So for with the layer selected, okay, you select the layer first and click any value that you want. Okay, so just go ahead and hit 4. Okay, that's too light for me. So how about 5? 5 simply means 50 opacity. Or you can just crank it here, alright, and see. So you can work on the slider. Okay, there you go. I think 87 looks good for me. Alright, so I work with 80. In your case, you can choose any value you want, okay, to suit your need. Alright, so let's come to the gentleman. So we are going to create a real shadow that looks like a person for that of the male. Alright, so with the male layer selected, okay, go to layer styles and hit drop shadow. Okay, so let's hit default. So now we have our shadow, but you will not really see it until you come down here. So this is the shadow, this is the real layer, and this is the shadow, the layers that are added to the layer. Okay, but you can actually stand here, right click, this menu comes up, and you can create a layer for the shadow alone. Okay, originally it's one layer. Okay, so you have to click this down for the layer style to reveal or to get hidden. So it's obvious that this first layer, I mean the female, does not have any layer style. Every time you want to check if a layer has got a layer style applied, you see FX. Okay, so I hit this and it shows me the layer style that is added to the layer. Okay, so I can actually now stand here on the shadow and right click and say create. Okay, this is what it tells me. Some aspects of the effect cannot be reproduced with layers. That's okay. Alright, so you realize that another layer is created. Okay, and the FX is actually gone before it was here. Alright, so let's turn off the eye icon to show the shadow. Alright, so that is a perfect shadow now, and you can actually do that with the female. Okay, you might want to swap the method so that you get this shadow for the male and that for the female later. Okay, on your own. That should be our assignment though. Alright, so now that we are here, how can we get the shadow? Because shadows do not stand, they have to lie. Alright, so how can we get the shadow of the male to lie? So you hit this, and once you get into the transformation mode, you right click and choose skew. Okay, skew, that's a simple work. A shift to the right or to the left. Okay, alright, so here you are. So it's about the same height as the real image, but it is twisted to the right. Okay, So in order for it to be more realistic, it has to come down. So you grab this the top part and begin to push it down. So there you are. This does not look too real. The right feet looks like it's hanging, so you can just grab it and play around it till you get it in position. You get it exactly where you want it. Okay, so there you have it. That's how you create a real shadow, and that's how you create a faded shadow. Okay, so you can actually do that with text too, but today our focus was on images. If you like this video, be sure to comment in the section below, share it, and if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, I highly recommend that you do right now and hit the notification bell so that when I come through with a new video, you'll be the first to see it and learn a new technique. Thank you for watching this, and I am out. And I hope that in your next project you are going to add some shadows. Okay, I'll take time to do a video on shadows with a test. Alright, I'm glad I came through with this one, and I hope that you like it. Thank you again, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.